God's chosen ones. Only the most powerful will feel these symptoms. You've been exhausted for weeks, but the doctors say nothing's wrong. Your body is buzzing at night, but no one else can feel it. You've lost people you thought were permanent, and now you're wondering, what's happening to me? Let me tell you something that might shake your soul into remembering. You're not breaking. You're awakening. These aren't symptoms of sickness. These are signs of spiritual assignment, because only the most powerful chosen ones feel this much, lose this much, sense this much before they rise. So if you've been feeling things no one else understands, if your body, your soul, and your circle are all shifting at once, this is your confirmation. You're not going crazy. You're being called. Type 707 in the comments if your spirit just whispered. That's me. There comes a moment, quiet and cruel, when you wake up and realize you're not like them anymore. You used to laugh with them, breathe with them, fit into rooms that once felt like home. But lately, everything feels off. The conversations feel hollow. Your body feels heavy, and your spirit restless. Like it's waiting for something it can't explain. Maybe you felt it in the middle of the night. That strange buzzing under your skin. That ache in your chest when nothing's wrong. That sudden tear that falls during silence. You look around, but no one else notices. They call it stress, fatigue, hormones. But deep inside, you know better. Because what you're experiencing isn't physical. It's sacred. You've started craving solitude, not because you're bitter, but because your soul is tired of pretending. You feel everything, even things that don't belong to you. You walk into rooms and absorb the pain of strangers. You feel shifts in people's energy before they speak. And when people lie, something inside you burns. They told you that was a weakness. But I'm here to tell you that was the first sign you were chosen. You, the watcher of this video, you are not watching by accident. This is not another scroll. This is the moment heaven whispered your name. Because only the most powerful chosen ones are sent these kinds of symptoms. Not to punish them, but to prepare them. What if I told you that your exhaustion is a sign you're filtering frequencies for the collective? That your loneliness is the mark of a spirit too rare to fit inside the crowd? What if the very things breaking you are proof that you're rising? If that voice inside you keeps saying, something is happening to me, you're right, and is not just happening to you. It's happening through you. This is spiritual recalibration. This is destiny rearranging your insides. This is your awakening. If you're still here, it means this message found who it was looking for. You, the anointed, the exhausted, the awakening. Type 777 if you're ready to remember who you are. Part 1, you're not broken. You're becoming. It started with the tiredness. Not the kind sleep could fix, no. This was different. It was the kind of tired that lived in the bones. In the space between heartbeats. I would wake up after 8 hours and still feel like I'd been carrying bricks all night. And the worst part, I couldn't explain it to anyone. I looked fine, but inside, something was aching. Something invisible, something holy. At first, I thought I was just burnt out. Too much work, too much stress, too much pretending. But deep inside, I knew it wasn't about what I was doing. It was about what I was becoming. There were days I cried without a reason. Nights where my body would buzz like something electric was happening under my skin. Like my soul was rewiring itself. But no one told me the instructions. I tried to ignore it. Tried to stay busy. Tried to pray it away. But you can't pray away a process sent by heaven. You see, what I didn't understand then was that I wasn't breaking down. I was being rebuilt. And it wasn't just the fatigue. It was the way conversations started to feel fake. Like everyone was speaking a language I no longer understood. I couldn't sit through small talk anymore. Couldn't pretend I didn't notice the energy in the room shifting. Every time someone lied, I thought something was wrong with me. That I was too sensitive, too intense. But now I know. My spirit was rejecting what no longer aligned. The people around me didn't get it. They said I was pulling away, that I was isolating. But how do you explain to someone that solitude was saving your soul? I wasn't withdrawing. I was being called apart. There was this one night, 17 a.m. I sat in the dark with my hand on my chest, feeling like something ancient was trying to speak through me. And I whispered, what's happening to me? And I swear, not in a loud voice, not in a thunder, but in a quiet, knowing way, I heard him say, you're not broken, you're becoming. That moment changed everything. I stopped apologizing for the heaviness I carried. I stopped calling my sensitivity a flaw. I stopped running from the ache. because I realized the ache was activation. I was feeling more because I was made to heal more. I was tired because I was holding light for people who didn't even know they were in darkness. I wasn't sick. I was shifting. Now I know spiritual fatigue is real. Ascension aches. Awakening costs you everything that's false. But what you gain. You were before the world told you to shrink. Before life layered on noise and numbness. So if you're reading this and your body is tired, your heart is aching, your spirit feels stretched thin, you are not breaking, you are becoming. And I promise you, everything you feel right now is not the end of something. It's the beginning of everything. You're being prepared for what you prayed for. You're being recalibrated for what you were born to carry. You're not falling apart. You're finally falling into alignment. So rest, chosen one. You're not lazy. You're lifting realms with your breath. And when it's all said and done, you'll look back on this season and realize the symptoms were never random. They were signs of who you were born to be. Part 2, you're allergic to fake energy now. It started quietly. At first, I thought I was just irritated, too moody, too sensitive. But it wasn't that. Something in me began to recoil. In certain rooms, with certain voices, around certain energy that once felt fine. It was like my body had a new language, one I hadn't learned yet, but my soul understood perfectly. Fake laughter made my skin crawl. Small talk exhausted me. Pretending to care. It felt like betrayal, not to others, but to myself. I used to laugh at things that didn't move me, smile when I didn't feel safe, agree just to keep the peace. But now even my silence has boundaries. It's not pride, it's not attitude, it's energetic evolution. I remember the moment I realized this wasn't temporary. I was at a dinner table. People were talking loud, fast and all surface, smiling wide with hollow eyes. And every word felt like noise. I couldn't hear God in the room, not even in myself. So I excused myself, went outside, and just stood under the stars like a child who missed home. And I remember thinking, why do I feel lonelier around people than when I'm alone? And that's when it hit me. I wasn't lonely, I was misplaced. Because when your soul starts waking up, when the veils start falling, you begin to see things. You start noticing the masks people wear, the lies they tell themselves just to survive, the energy they project onto you, hoping you'll carry what they refuse to heal. And suddenly, you just can't participate anymore, not out of bitterness, but because your spirit is done pretending. Now when something is fake, I feel it in my chest, tight, constricted, like my spirit is trying to walk away, before my body does. There's no hiding anymore. Not for them. Not for me. I stopped going to certain places, stopped texting people back just to be polite, stopped saying yes to things that drained me. I'd rather be misunderstood in truth than celebrated in performance. And yes, it gets lonely sometimes. Yes, it's quiet, but this silence, it's sacred. I used to fill it with noise. Now I let it speak. You want to know what it's like to be chosen. It's being okay with being misunderstood. It's sitting in a room full of people and still choosing your peace. It's knowing when someone's words don't match their frequency. It's walking away, even when staying would be easier. This isn't attitude. This isn't ego. This is your soul remembering its standard. Because when you're chosen, your energy becomes a filter, not a sponge. You're not here to absorb chaos. You're here to call order back into broken spaces. But first, you had to stop lying to yourself to keep others comfortable. So if you've been wondering why old friendships feel awkward, why crowds make you nauseous, why loud voices and shallow words make your body tense, it's not just you. It's your spirit growing louder than your conditioning. You're not being rude. You're being realigned. And the truth is, you can't fake being asleep once you've tasted awakening. You've outgrown pretending. You've outgrown the masks. You've outgrown your old self. And now you crave truth like breath. You crave peace like water. You crave God unfiltered. So if the world feels louder, but your soul craves silence, you're not crazy. You're chosen. Type 7, no, I'm 7 in the comments if you're done pretending. You'd rather sit in silence with God than speak fake words in a room full of noise. Part 3, you're absorbing what's not yours. Because your gift was never meant to feel this heavy. It hits me the second I walk in. No one says a word, but suddenly my chest tightens. My thoughts get cloudy. My shoulders feel like they're holding something I didn't bring in with me. That's when I know this isn't mine, but it's on me again. People look at me and say, you're too emotional. You're too intense. But they don't see it. They don't feel what I feel. They don't know what it's like to enter a room and feel the heartbreak sitting in someone's silence. or the anxiety floating beneath someone's smile, or the rage trembling under a calm tone. No one says it, but I carry it. Sometimes I cry, and I don't know why. Sometimes I wake up exhausted, even though I slept. Sometimes I feel heavy after a 5-minute conversation, as if I just walked through someone else's lifetime. And for years, I thought I was broken. I thought something was wrong with me. Too sensitive, too dramatic, too weak. But then I learned the word, empath, and suddenly everything made sense. I wasn't just feeling, I was filtering. I wasn't just observing, I was absorbing, not because I asked for it, but because my soul was tuned to a different frequency, one that most people have forgotten how to hear. They say chosen ones carry light, but no one tells you what that means. No one tells you that your light attracts pain, that people will sit near you just to exhale their sadness, that strangers will tell you their trauma in checkout lines, that even when someone doesn't speak, their wounds will call out to your spirit, and you'll feel it, and it will linger. You'll go home and not know why you feel sick, why you're anxious, why you feel like crying when everything is fine. It's not your sadness, it's someone else's sorrow clinging to your aura. It's the cost of being spiritually open in a numb world. And here's the part that nearly broke me. No one sees it. You look normal. You show up. You smile. You're strong. But inside, you're carrying the weight of 10 invisible stories. None of them yours. Until your body starts shutting down. Your emotions spiral. Your peace disappears. And you wonder, am I going crazy? No, you're not. You're just not protected. No one taught me that I could feel others and not carry them. No one told me I needed spiritual boundaries, the way others need physical ones. So I let everyone in, and I drowned in their storm, while they called me a good listener. Now, I'm learning. I don't hold what isn't mine. I don't absorb what doesn't belong. I don't confuse someone's shadow for my reflection, because I'm no longer just empathic. I'm intentional. I still feel, but now I filter. I still see, but now I seal. You want to know what it's like to carry this gift? It's a blessing with sharp edges. But once you learn to protect it, once you realize you can witness someone's pain without letting it live in your spirit, you become dangerous to darkness. Because now your compassion doesn't drain you. It empowers you. Now you pour from overflow, not depletion. Now you discern, is this mine, or am I just sensing it? And that question, it saves your life. So if you've been weeping without reason, exhausted without cause, anxious in crowds, foggy after being around certain people, you're not crazy. You're sensitive to the unseen, and that's sacred. Protect your energy like it's holy, because it is. You're not here to carry everyone. You're here to shine so they remember how to carry themselves. Type 7 SEMIDIAF in the comments if this chapter made your soul whisper, it's me. That's exactly what I've been feeling. Part 4. You've always felt like the outsider, because the crowd was never your calling. I don't remember when it started, this feeling of being off, but even as a kid, I could feel the difference. Birthday parties overwhelmed me. I never liked group projects. Loud laughter made me anxious. And family dinners felt like performing in a play I never auditioned for. I was there. I was smiling. But deep inside, I was somewhere else, observing, feeling, searching. I thought I was broken, maybe too shy, too strange, too soft. But now I know I was just different. You see, when you're chosen, you don't blend in. Even when you try. Even when you dress like them, talk like them, laugh when you're supposed to, you still feel it. That quiet misalignment between who you're pretending to be and who you actually are. And here's the hardest part. You spend years trying to fix what was never broken, years trying to belong in places you were never meant to stay. I remember sitting in rooms full of people, feeling like an alien in my own life, watching conversations unfold, but sensing the things no one said. I could feel their masks. I could hear their fear in the silence between words. And the more I saw, the lonelier I felt. Because how do you explain that to anyone? How do you say, I feel like I'm here, but not really here? But here's what I know now. Outsiders aren't out of place. They're just ahead of their time. You weren't rejected. You were reserved. You weren't forgotten. You were set apart. People labeled me a loner. Too deep, too intense, too sensitive. But the truth is, my soul was allergic to the shallow. I didn't want attention. I wanted authenticity. I wanted eyes that told the truth and silence that felt safe. I used to pray, God, why don't I belong? And the answer didn't come loud. It came gently. In the moments I stopped pretending, He whispered, you weren't built for that world. You were sent to change it. Being on the outside taught me to listen, taught me to observe, taught me to trust my knowing. When the crowd tried to drown it out, that isolation, it made me hear God louder. It tuned my frequency to the divine. And yes, it gets lonely. Yes, there were nights I ached to be normal. But I wouldn't trade this path now, because in the quiet, I found my power. In the rejection, I found my real voice. In the distance, I found purpose. You want to know what it's like to be chosen? It's walking into rooms and seeing everything, but being seen by no one. It's craving real in a world that thrives on artificial. It's speaking the truth and watching people flinch, not because you're harsh, but because your clarity confronts their shadows. And still, you keep showing up, not to be liked, but to illuminate, because that's what outsiders do. We carry torches, we walk ahead, we clear the path. For others who will one day say, I thought I was the only one. So if you've always felt like you didn't quite belong, if your soul keeps whispering, you're not from here, that's not delusion, that's remembrance. Because chosen ones, we don't fit in, we shift things. Type 444 in the comments if you felt it too. That holy ache of never quite belonging. You're not alone, you're just early. You're not broken, you're set apart. Part 5. People disappear when your light expands. Not everyone is meant to walk into your next chapter. I didn't expect them to leave. Not like that. Not so quietly. Not after everything we walked through together. No argument. No closure. Just distance, followed by silence. One day, they were everything. And the next, they were gone. And I was left with only questions. Did I do something wrong? Did I say too much? Was I too much? I replayed every moment, every conversation, trying to solve the mystery of why people who once felt permanent vanish without warning. But the answer wasn't in the past. It was in the frequency, because what I didn't realize then is that when your spirit starts rising, when your light begins to stretch wider than your old skin, something shifts, and not everyone can survive the new altitude. The conversations felt different. The laughter felt forced. The connection started fading, like trying to hold water in cupped hands. I felt guilty. I tried harder. I dimmed my light to make them feel safe. But no matter what I did, it kept unraveling. And then it hit me. It wasn't betrayal. It was realignment. God wasn't punishing me. He was protecting my path. You see, people can only walk beside you when their soul matches your pace. And when your energy begins to stretch, when you start shedding old patterns, old beliefs, old identities, some people won't recognize you anymore. Not because you've changed into someone worse, but because you've stepped into someone true. I used to beg God to bring them back, but now I thank Him that He let them walk away. Because if they were meant to stay, they wouldn't have left. There's something sacred about subtraction. It's heaven's way of making space. Not everyone was assigned to your destiny. Some were only written into the prologue, and that's okay. Sometimes your light exposes what someone else is avoiding. Sometimes your healing offends those still choosing their wounds. Sometimes your boundaries feel like rejection to those who only knew the unhealed version of you. And sometimes people don't actually leave you. They leave the version of you they were most comfortable with. But hear me when I say this. Their departure is not your defeat. It's your confirmation. It means your spirit has expanded beyond the vibration of that relationship. You've outgrown what was once enough. And that's not betrayal. That's becoming. There will be grief. Yes, let it come. Let the tears fall. Grief is just love, trying to find a new place to land. But after the ache comes the awakening. You'll realize they didn't abandon you. They just couldn't meet you where you were going. And where you're going requires fewer shadows and more clarity. You'll meet people who speak your language, who see your light and don't flinch, who love you not in spite of your growth, but because of it. People who don't drain your energy, but match it. People who feel like peace, like still water, like home. So if you're watching people walk away, if you're left with silence and questions, don't panic, don't chase, let them go. Because what's falling away is making space for what is aligned to your next level. Not everyone is meant to stay for the whole book. Some were only written into your wilderness, not your promised land. Let that be okay. Type 7009 in the comments if you've had to mourn someone who left without goodbye and you're ready to stop blaming yourself for your own evolution. You didn't lose them. You found you. You didn't break. You awakened. Let's sit together for a moment. Not in rush, not in noise, just here in stillness. Let your breath slow. Let your shoulders drop. Let your soul listen, because I need you to hear this. You're not crazy. You're not broken. You're not weak. You are awakening. Every tear, Every sleepless night, every person who disappeared was part of the sacred rearranging. Your fatigue was divine recalibration. Your isolation was holy preservation. Your sensitivity was spiritual refinement. You didn't imagine this. You remembered this. You've always known, even as a child. You felt things deeper, heard things louder, knew things you couldn't explain. And now, the knowing is rising. The veil is thinning, and your purpose is approaching. Let them call you different. Let them say you changed. Because the truth is, you did. You outgrew your old survival. You outgrew the version of you that kept shrinking to stay loved. And now, you're becoming the one God always saw. Here's the real story. You were never meant to fit in. You were meant to stand apart, to see deeper, to feel stronger, to carry light into places the world forgot. You're not too much. You're precisely built for impact. This pain wasn't punishment. It was proof. Proof that you're chosen, that your life is marked, that heaven has whispered your name more than once. So what now? You walk forward soft, strong, and sacred. You protect your energy. You honor your rest. You trust the fire inside you, even if no one else sees it yet. And when doubt whispers, you say out loud, I'm not breaking, I'm becoming. If everything you went through was never meant to crush you, but to prepare you, will you stop apologizing for being chosen? Will you finally say yes to what your soul already knows? Because if you're still here, still watching, still feeling this in your bones, this is your confirmation. You were chosen. Type Evan 7 in the comments if this message was for you. Let the universe see your agreement. Let heaven witness your yes. And if your spirit whispered, finally, someone sees me, subscribe. This space is for you, not the masses, the marked ones. Rewatch this anytime the pain returns. Every symptom was a signal. Every ache was an answer. You weren't breaking. You were awakening. And now it's time to become.